As I descended softly to the ground with the help of my sash, I jumped forward and upwards once again. I was beginning to grow tired of running for so long, so I opted to take big leaps, literally. Besides, the fresh and nightly wind helped me stay awake. I was so scared. I didn't want Kojiro to die. I didn't want to lose him so soon. I might have met him in such a short time, but he has come to mean a lot to me. I have come to love him. Maybe Tanjiro felt the same thing about me. This is such a dangerous job after all. No, I can't think like this anymore. I left him for a reason. I won't waste my tears, time, or feelings on him. I groaned tiredly, shaking my head before carefully landing on the ground and running. I clasped my hands together. Please do enlighten my path and give me strength, O gods. I prayed, still running. Favorite flowers began to bloom next to the rail, to which I let out a breathy laugh and ran fast. You never ceased to impress me. For hours on end, I kept running and gliding the skies mutually, following the flower trail that would lead me to Kojiro. I ran past 3 train stations, leaving the third one with great exhaustion. My legs ached, beginning to cramp, and slowly, with a movement, my not even lamping or gliding could help ease or ignore the pain any longer. My vision blurred and my breathing was nothing but heavy. Exhaustion entirely escaped my mouth. The sun was in the middle of the sky, therefore announcing noon or perhaps afternoon. Despite being a month of cold, this December day was a very sunny and warm one. I think it was during this time when I ran away from home. Actually, perhaps the last week of August, since autumn was barely coming in. Rest. I let out a shaky, breathy cough, jogging as fast as my sparred legs allowed me to. I'm not resting until I am at Kojiro's side. I spoke, trembling. Rest. I'm fine. I can still hold on. If I stop now, he might die. I kept moving, practically limping my way there to the next train track. As I checked my pocket watch, did I realize I walked for an hour and a half and sadly made little to no progress. Just how slow have I been walking? Never mind that. At least I'm near Kojiro. Way slower than before, but I'm nearing him. I have to reach him. I spoke out through ragged breaths, wobbling, swaying my steps as my unconscious began to slip away. I sighed in tiredness and exhaustion. I just woke up from food poisoning and now I'm falling unconscious once again. I'm truly cynical, am I not? I shouted, sitting up in a swift move. I looked around, seeing nothing but bushes, trees, and darkness. This isn't the side of the railroad. Did someone leave me here? The gods couldn't have, or else there'd be a trail of flowers. I stood up, walking out of the forest and towards the train track, though I was feeling the aftermath of nonstop running. The pain was unbearable, and thanks to my child's pain-relieving pills from the first aid box he gave me, the pain is almost as good as new. Though Sanmi was right. Kayaka used too many anthemics. I guess I better prepare myself for a sudden leg cramp. Anyways, I was lucky enough to be out at the edge of the forest, so I didn't have much to walk. There was no flower trail from the spot where I collapsed and the spot where I woke, meaning the gods weren't the ones that rolled me/took me to the forest. Someone definitely carried me. And I say carried because my nor hair or clothes were dusty. There are stars in the sky starting to appear, which scared me. The thought of reaching Kojiro too late was terrifying. I had to hurry up. I wasted too much time already. Before leaving, I faced the forest, clasping my hands together and bowed. I'm greatly thank you for carrying me." After some seconds, I stopped, bowing, and turned towards the train tracks. Flowers bloomed once more, so I took a chance and readied myself to run. "You're welcome," I gasped, turning my head to the forest, taken aback, quite afraid. But I saw no one. Not like the night's darkness could let me see beyond a few trees anyways. With a shiver, I sped off. Second person POV. Tanjiro packed medicine vials and boxes in his Hoori pockets. With urge, he's going between rooms a lot. His hands shook in great manner, still not over the news that wicked Iguro told him and everyone else about. The most shocking and heartbreaking thing of all was that no one else, maybe even Kayaka, knew it except for him. One of the glass bottles he held slid from his hands and broke with a loud crash against the wooden floor, the crystallized shards spreading across the room as well as the liquid stored inside what was previous in the bottle. The sound made the boy react. Tanjiro soon winced sadly as he tried to contain his tears, his anger, his disappointment, his depression, his helplessness. How fast did your heart change indeed? Perhaps not, since you noticed so many bad things about him, yet you endured them for love. Tanjiro was careless, truly, for he, without a doubt, underestimated you greatly. He saw you as an unchanging, oblivious, adorable, and loving little lady he fell for all those years ago, denying your independence and your own strength. It was all too late now, it seemed. Tanjiro-san, a male voice exclaimed hurriedly. The owner of the voice had hazy blue eyes and long hair. He seemed tired and utterly concerned. How could you leave like that? And what for? We were worried about you. No one's at the manor, Michiro. Tanjiro spoke in an amusement tone, the aforementioned boy's feature turning into from worry to despite and mockingly. Clinging to Yin-san still. I thought she made it obvious yesterday. She doesn't want anything to do with you, Michiro said with a smirk, irking Tanjiro. This only fueled the Miss Pillar's amusement more. You think she will consider you having you anything over or close to a friend after knowing you abandoned her child during a vigorous fight between your moron friends? Tanjiro finally looked at Michiro. Yet with an enraged glare, Michiro kept his smirk still, not even flinching. Instead, he did his smirk grow wider. This is all your fault, then, Tanjiro said darkeningly, hands still shaking vigorously. And the blonde idiots as well, Michiro smiled, clasping his hands together. I see why you kept him. He's a very good scapegoat. Not the boar guy, though. Or at least not yet. Kayaka's happiness comes from him, after all. I knew you were lying when you told Okiya-sama about the tongue bag. I smell your lies. Tanjiro taunted with a small, crooked, victorious smile. Michiro stood with an unchanging expression. Obviously, Tanjiro's words had no effect on him. I should have told Okiya-sama about it, though. And I should have told Okiya-sama about how you're forcing more on stalking your ex-fiancé now, instead of doing what you're supposed to do. Michiro shrugged carelessly. Tanjiro's stability once again to anger. Oh, how much fun Michiro was having! While you three were chasing around each other's tails, I got Yin-san's favor and Kayaka's affection. Soon, I'll be the one truly protecting and caring for them, unlike you three. Tanjiro walked past Michiro with an intense glare, leaving the room. We'll see about that. Michiro smirked evilly, waving the red at farewell. Yeah, we'll see. First POV. I closed the door behind me, panting and huffing. My hair was messy and revolved. I luckily reached the train. Luckily, I didn't have to run more after I woke up. maybe about an hour or two. It was tiring, nevertheless. Now I had to find Kojo. Not many people in the wagon seemed to care about my presence, yet they looked at me curiously. It was then I did realize that I forgot to paint my face. I hissed slightly and walked forward as I could. The echo of my shoes was permitted and awkward since it was only sound in the room. After crossing a few more train wagons, I spotted the crazy match of a yellow and red hair. Kojiro! I sighed in relief, hurrying towards the aforementioned male and hugging him. Yandere! He exclaimed in joy and confusion, hugging back. Thank the gods you're okay, I said, hugging him tighter with a little longer before holding him by his shoulders and faced with a determined look. Don't worry, our fellow pillars are on their way here as we speak. As much as I am overjoyed with your presence, I'm confused as to what you are talking about. Kojo tilted his head as if he could understand my behavior better that way. I tensed slightly at his question, gulping in nervousness even. Nonetheless, I had to tell him. I had to be honest with him. I let go of him, his happy features replaced with a small, preoconic frown. I had a vision saying that you would die. I spoke hesitantly between words. In this mission. In this train. Silence. It worried me. I see, he bluntly said, not even a hint of concern nor discomfort written in his expression. Well, this job always puts our lives at stake, so I see no problem. Kojo, this is serious, I urged. He looked at me dearly, which made me sigh in expiration. No, I am not being adorably worrisome because we're lovers. I am being concerned about your life as a pillar. Kojo's eyes gleamed as his smile was bright once again. His brows rose. We're lovers? That's not what matters now, Kojiro. I interrupted by the man's hand suddenly entangled with mine as he tilted towards me. It does matter, Kojiro shouted with amusement. We're finally lovers now. That means incredibly much to me. Wait, lower your voice. I panicked at my words and reached him. I love you with all I am and all I can to point out. Not even words can describe at an ounce of my love for you. Kojiro continued. Many people were beginning disroot by our voices. Knowing that we're lovers is making my heart race so fast, and I am so overjoyed right now. I quickly covered Kojiro's mouth with my hand, shutting him up. Yes, we are lovers. I broke up with Tanjo. We are lovers now. But can you please stay quiet? I beg of you. Kojo took my hand and gave me a bright, grand smile. No can do. I must let everyone know in this train. No, Kojo, don't you dare. After minutes of threatening to show his happiness, Kojo eased. I was sitting next to him, eating the food from the bento boxes he had. However, whoever prepared this food was such a talented cook. Setting aside, I informed Kojo about us finally being together, including the trial and 2 assassin attempts I had to, in order to give him a proper content as to what had happened to me what led me to break up with Tanjiro. I didn't want to tell Kojo, in all honesty. What if he overreacted and exaggerated things? What if he acted recklessly because of me? So that's how it happened. The red-eyed male hummed in deep and sadness tone, caressing my injured wrist, and with great delicacy, as he took me out of my thoughts. And to harm you like this, that shows just how immature and irresponsible he is, to even consider being in a relationship. How dare he do this to you? Kojo, please don't yell. I spoke almost in a whisper, holding his hand. I'm fine now, am I not? By a miracle? Definitely the gods' deeds. He kept talking, his smile now a flattered line, and his eyes that once roared with life and joy were now dull and against filled. After what Iguro did to you twice, it's definitely a blessing to still be alive and all right. What would have happened if I lost you, when we hadn't even gotten the chance to start a new life together? We should definitely move to a place where we can't bother people with his loud voice, I said to myself. I don't mind, yet others do. The sound of whistles and the slowing of the train told me we were approaching a train station. Perfect timing. I got up from my seat as Kojo kept rambling on about regarding my safety, the handrecklessness about our 5 children. Pardon me? 5? Huh? Just how far is your mind going, Cocoon? I let out a breathy laugh, kissing Kojo's forehead. My action stopped his scowling and caused him to turn his head towards me. I'll go buy us a train wagon to ourselves. You're bothering the other passengers. I'll accompany you, he said drastically, raising to his feet with a swift move. Besides, we have to buy you more food. You ran non-stop for a day now. You must recover your strength. But I'm not that hungry, Cocoon. I shook my head, exiting the train, alongside with the long-haired lover. How does katsudon and fried rice sound? He hummed in a joyous tone. My eyes quickly lit up with amusement as I let out a soft gasp. Is it fried rice and shrimp and beef? There was loud bickering coming on nearby, which got both Kojo and mine's attention. Oh no. Maybe if I ignore them. Aren't those your friends? Kojo mentioned, pointing them out. I sighed, shaking my head. I'm not involving myself with them anymore. Hey, what's going on here? A man shouted. Oh, great. Cocoon, I called, the alpha-dimensional male looking at me. I gave him money. Please go buy us a wagon. Of course. He nodded joyously, and then tilted his head. Everything all right? Yeah, don't worry about it. I replied with a small sigh, doing my hair as quick as I could. Do you mind lending me your hori? Second person, POV. The train station wasn't that crowded, but a good amount of people were there. Some were vendors, others waited for the respectful trains to arrive, and many others waited for their relatives to arrive or pick them up. The hissing of trains and whistle of the wagon wheels, and their whistles drowned the people's conversations. The sound, the machines, and the people in Juvenile were a lot for a tro to process. Or, well, just the burgundy hair and the board-mass boy. Maybe it's a divine beast that protects the lands, Tanjiro said with a congenial seriousness, gesturing his hand at the train. Well, we'll decide who's the strongest then, Inosuke announced proudly, bowing and ready to headbutt with the metal transport. You two can't be serious, Zenitsu groaned in frustration. He then sighed as he rubbed his temples. I still can't believe Yin-chan fell for a country bumpkin like you. At least this country bumpkin didn't leave her for no name like you did. Tanjiro crossed his arms, smirking amusedly at the blonde that gritted his teeth in anger. Well, you two aren't shit compared to me, because at least she still likes me, Inosuke crackled now. Tanjiro and Zenitsu glared at him. Shut the hell up, you dumb pig, Zenitsu growled. You wanna go, fucker? Inosuke said in a low voice, holding his swords and ready to start a fight. Hey, what's going on here? A policeman spoke, blowing his whistle as soon as reinforcements arrived. Shit! Zenitsu looked to where the voice came from and quickly glanced back at his companions. Look what you two just did. What we did? You were the one who started this fight, Tanjiro defended. Then why did you drag us here in the first place if you'll just fight? The blonde retorted. I, for one, won't help you get her back. I don't need your help with that. Yin loves me more than she loves you. Tanjiro was losing his patience little by little, containing his bloodlust as best as he could. Use something else to attack me? We're both in the same boat now, moron, Zenitsu scoffed. Are those guys gonna fight? Bring it on! Inosuke shouted, taking out his swords and starting to fighting stance. Yin will surely praise me and forget about you both when she sees how awesome I am. God damn it, cut it out already. Zenitsu held Inosuke back, watching how, out of a sudden, the guards and everyone, the trio, swiftly got to their knees and bowed their heads. Hanwa-sama, we kneel in respect. Your presence is an honor, and the ground you walk on is blessed. At the mention of your last name, Zenitsu Inosuke and Tanjiro looked behind themselves, only to be taken aback by what they saw. Your hair was arranged elegantly and beautifully. Your face was painted in a way that made you look so mature and worthy of approval. And your haori, your shiny accessories matched the red makeup on your face as well. Though the haori wasn't yours. With a proud and unfaltering steps, you walked past the gloating trio and stood before the kneeling crowd. Is there a matter in question regarding these three gentlemen? Even the way you spoke was so firm and mature. It gave Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke the reassurance need to kneel down as well. Of course, they were in such an amazed state to give in to the pressuring feeling. They were causing a public disturbance, Hanua-sama. A policeman shakingly responded, not even daring to look up. Also, they're carrying swords. My deepest apologies. Oh, my deepest and most humble of apologies. For they are my swordsmen who will escort me back to Asayuka, you exclaimed calmly, then glanced at Tanjiro and Zenitsu with spiteful frown. Regarding their immature and well-mannered behavior, these men were trained away from urban life, so I beg of you, please do forgive me for the turmoil my foolish escorts have caused. Yes, Hanua-sama, the policeman spoke and urged, still kneeling. I request everyone present to not inform about this to Hanua-doma, for she is in time ill due to the aftermath of the war. You ordered as you extended your arm towards the swarm of people. You may rise back to your feet. Yes, Hanua-sama, everyone said, wasting no time in doing as told as they continued their own things. Tanjiro and his companions walked over to you, yet Tanjiro was the shyest of the three. He wore a sulking look and nervous eyes. Thank you. I didn't do it for you. Don't mix things up. You quickly replied, silencing the redhead as he jumped a little at your cold voice. Your face. Oh, you face a trio with folded arms and a monotone look on your face. It pained Tanjiro to see you hating him like this. You better explain what the hell you're doing here, and it better not because of me. The burgundy hair and the blonde were surprised by your language, while Inosuke frowned over your new tough side. You rose an eyebrow, sounding your heel rapidly. Well, anybody got an excuse already, or will you waste more of my time? Inosuke still didn't spoke, and guessing by Tanjiro's restless and desperate expression, there was so much she wanted to say that, sadly, none of it would do. Had to be this current question. Tanjiro wanted to ask Rengoku-san more about the Dance of the Fire Gods, since Rengoku-san is the flame pillar. Zenitsu replied, We tagged along because we had no missions at the moment. You let out a sigh, unfolding your arms. Well, passable enough. At least that's better than sending me creepy gifts or attempting to hurt my child. Zenitsu's eyes widened in both confusion and surprise. Inshan, The train is leaving. Don't waste any more time. You cut his words off, walking past the three. I bought a train wagon, so feel free to join, or buy your own tickets, but hurry. Hastily at first, Zenitsu and Inosuke followed you. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say Tanjiro. The boy with the yellow haori bit his nail with a small glare and worrisome eyes, so you knew about what he did. Or at least half of it. Tanjiro was right. Michiru was definitely a bigger threat than what he imagined. Yin, I found fried rice bento with shrimp and beef, a male said, rushing to your side as he carried many bento boxes on his back with the help of a sash-like cloth. Thank you. You smiled, undoing your hair and changing it to a simple style, / letting it down. You took off the haori you were wearing and gave it to the long-haired male. Thanks for lending me your haori twice. You can keep it if you want. It suits you wonderfully. Kojiro smiled back, opening the train wagon's door for you. With a small laugh, you entered the wagon. Kojiro doing so as well after you closed the door in front of Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro's faces. The trio glared angry at the flame pillar as they tried to open the door, but found it locked. Kojiro shot them a carefree, close smile, waving his hand before swiftly turning towards you. You were amazing back there, worthy of a strong and indulging angel like yourself. They heard Kojiro compliment you as he walked away with you. Tanjiro's blood boiled as his hands breaking the doorknob. Kokun, don't say that. It's embarrassing. You giggled, tugging a strand of hair behind your ear and clearing the makeup with a piece of cloth Kojiro handed you. I can't believe I used to behave like that. The redhead and his companions quickly rushed towards you, only to be met with another locked door right to their noses. Once again, courtesy to the flame pillar. This game of locked doors went on about 4 times until you five finally reached a wagon you bought. Kojiro and you took a seat in the very front. You sat next to the window while Kojiro sat next to you. Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Inosuke sat on the seats next to Kojiro and you, glancing intently at the both of you. Kojiro took out 4 bento boxes from the clothing wrap, handing them to you as well as a pair of chopsticks. Before you could thank him and grab the boxes, the redhead mailed open one of the boxes and ate some of the food. His eyes lit up and with a loud voice said his signature word, tasty. What was that for? You asked, shuffling back a small laugh. To ensure the food wasn't poison, Kojiro replied. And if it was, then at least I'll die in your stead. That's not romantic, that's concerning. You lightly frowned at this, taking the bento box and chopsticks as you began eating. Your frown quickly turned into excitement and awe. It is tasty! It was a little too tiring for the trio to hear Kojiro and you shout out the word tasty every time either of you took a bite of your own food. And it was quite deterresome to see you so close and all lovey-dovey with the aforementioned male. Seriously, how old is he? 27? 30? Zenitsu hissed, watching with haste how Kojiro fed you rice and versa. He even used his thumb to remove the small rice grains and soy sauce remains that were on the corner of your mouth. This is messed up. I really want to fight this guy, Zenitsu added, soon shouldering. But he's oddly strong and scary. Tanjiro said nothing. Instead, he looked with such desperate and sulked expression at the sight before him. Ah, the days when you used to look at Tanjiro like that, with such aforementioned glee that it made him feel like he was the only man in the alluring colored eyes. Your consent laughter and various expressions that reflected your love. Even your frowns had the hint of care and gentleness. All of this used to be his. Yourself used to be his. You used to be his. Slowly but surely, Tanjiro's dark thoughts began to replace his sadness, though they didn't last long, for Kojiro's loud voice snapped him out of his thoughts. No can do, the flame pillar said with his signature smile and his eyes gleaming. Where was he even looking at? I'm sorry, yandere, but as much as I would love to kid, I don't wish to be associated with him. Kokun, you scoffed. Well, he wasn't wrong, but it seemed like such a childish tantrum to you. It's all right. Don't worry. Tanjiro smiled, only to shoot a dark glare at the unfazed pillar. He might try to steal my breathing style while he's at it. Hey, stop it. Zenitsu hushed Tanjiro, standing between both Kojiro's seat and yours, and their respective seats. Tanjiro really said he wanted to talk to you about the dance of the fire gods with Kojiro. We swear, Inosuke and I would have stopped Tanjiro if we knew he had something going else on. Well, I don't want any more useless fighting, so as soon as we arrive to the closest train station, you 3 are getting out. You frowned, arms folded. Not like you could handle a demon in this train, Zenitsu. Actually, I can. the blonde retorted with a half-shy smile, scratching the back of his neck. I thought my lack of cowardice was kind of obvious, but I guess I have more work on it. You rose an eyebrow, looking at Zenitsu sketchfully. What are you planning? Aside from keeping my word? Nothing. Zenitsu shrugged, hoping to convince you. You shrugged your nose with a scoff, minding him no mind. Of course, this glow-up of his was a strategy that gives him the results he searched. He revealed the rules between Tanjiro and him. While Tanjiro gave in to the anxiety, lust, fear, and jealousy, Zenitsu worked on creating a good image about himself and gaining everyone in the butterfly manor's trust. Tanjiro became extremely worrisome, over-exaggerating guy, while Zenitsu was the admirable and cool-headed one. Well, Tanjiro even wanted every guy that approached you to commit seppuku, just how Zenitsu used to be proclaimed oh so often. What a laughable guy did Tanjiro become. Sadly, you hated Zenitsu as well. He admitted he was responsible about the incident with Kayaka, but he never sent you strange gifts, not even letters, except when he tried to get your attention that one time. He had to explain it to you as soon as possible. Out of a sudden, you stood up from your seat and walked towards the exit of the wagon. Excuse me for a second. I'll be right back, you said. Everything all right, yandere? Kojiro asked concernedly. Do you want us to accompany you? It's a private issue. Thank you. You quickly silenced Tanjiro, closing the door. With a big leap, you stood on the train's wagon roof, finding a bird-like demon. Instilled of arms. She had red sickle-like wings. Her feet were long and crooked, her 5 toes long and clawed. As soon as the demon met your eyes, she knelt and averted her gaze towards the train's roof. Hanawa-sama, terrible news. What's the matter? You asked, fighting against the strong wind as you tried to stand firm in front of her. Nasaba. What happened? It's a Biddo, Hanawa-sama. He was killed, the bird demon said. Your worry got worse due to her words. So did your frustration. This is why I told him to stay still. I think I already know why and how he died, as well as the killer. You shouldered, the wind pushing you forward due to its strength. Naba-sama, when did he die? I don't know. His arms were found near the last place a redemption was held. Niabasa, oh my god, I can never say her name. Niabanasa replied, afraid. I saw an upper moon demon on the way here, and this train reeks of demons, Hanawa-sama. What will you do? Well, defeat the demons, of course. You nodded, reassuring Nabasa. Thank you for your consider, but a pillar is also in this train, and there are 3 more on the way. Should I stay as well? Nabasa asked, raising her head a little. No, please don't. There are many humans on board, and I'm not losing you as well as a reckless move. You neglected. Nabasa blushed with a little surprise. It reminded you of your younger self that got shy and bashful even with the smallest of compliments. Please go back. Wait until the next demon redemption, please. Yes, Hanawa-sama. Hanawa-sama. Nabasa nodded, standing up. Please be careful. I sense a heavy aura of murder on this train. Will do. You nodded, waving her goodbye. Nabasa jumped off the train, quickly opening her wings and flying away. You descended from the train, staying inside to organize your thoughts. Muzan killed Debito, one of the demons not only you redeemed, but also renamed and cared for. Though Edito, I think, brought it to himself by going against your words, it still affected you. If Muzan left Debito's arm at the last place you held the redemption sash, then it might mean Muzan knew all about what you did. But why hasn't he attacked you or the redeemed demons? Either he was waiting for a grand move, or he had no limit info on you and left you Albito's arm as a mean to make you uneasy and nervous. It's an original plan, was the second one. Then it's quite awful. Yin-san, a male voice, making you exclaim in surprise. Zenitsu! You quickly composed yourself, looking at the brown-eyed boy with monotony. What were you doing here? We just came to clarify some things, Zenitsu pleaded, hands clasped together. Please? We? You let out a laugh in disbelief, almost a scoff. Your expression softened when you saw a pink eye that peeked from behind Zenitsu. Natsuko! She also noticed Sanjo's messed up way of being, so we came to clarify some things, Zenitsu exclaimed, noting with a hum. First of all, I do admit I attacked Kayaka. Nezuko was there, kind of, but I never sent you anything weird. Well, Michio begs to differ. You frowned, trying to stay as serious as possible despite Nezuko's presence. Do you really trust him that much? Zenitsu asked with a look of pain. I know I let you down so many times now, but this time I didn't do anything. I don't even know what you're associating with me. So you're saying to beg the bag of tongues with the creepy observative message wasn't yours? You retorted with a hint of anger. Do you realize that pretty much every guy that approaches you is sickling in love with you? It wasn't me, Zenitsu continued desperately. Did it ever cross your mind that Michio could have been the one to send the bag you blamed me for? You were taken aback at the loss of words. Michio was definitely out of his mind, as he shown you that day at your estate where he chose to admire and protect you from afar rather than to have you to himself like everyone else wished to. It could have been him. I know I'm sick as well, Yin, but I'm trying to do better these days. Zenitsu got you out of your thoughts, Nezuko nodding with a hum at his words. I've been working on myself because I want to be worthy of you, as a friend. As we promised, and Nezuko is helping me too. How can I trust you then? You narrowed your eyes quizzically. You may be right about Michio. Nezuko may believe you, but how can I? Just trust me this once. It's all I ask for. Then I'll leave you forever, I promise. Zenitsu begged. His voice broke as he gazes with grief. Please. You glanced at Nezuko, who also begged you to give Zenitsu a chance. You then looked at Zenitsu, who was on the verge of tears. How do you still had it to forgive him? Just this once, you gave him. Zenitsu sighing in relief and smiling tenderly. Nezuko cheered and hums as she jumped a little. Thank you. I promise you won't regret it. Zenitsu beamed, opening the train wagon door and waiting for you to go in. What a surprise was it for the three to see the cabin empty. The demon is here, you hummed, looking around. What's the plan? The blonde asked. We'll find Kokun and the others and defeat the demon. If there are people nearby, send them here and protect them, you ordered. Zenitsu nodded. You looked at Nezuko. Stay in the box for now. I'll let you know when it's safe to come out, okay? Nezuko hummed with a proud nod, dashing to her box, hiding inside. Let's go, you said, a hand on your sheathed sword and running out of the train wagon, Zenitsu following. As the two of you separate across the wagon, you were puzzled to see a few broken seats and sleeping passengers. Why were they sleeping? Are they sleeping? You asked yourself, casing your running and inspecting a passenger. Zenitsu placed a hand between his ear. Yeah, but it's a strange type of sleeping. What do you mean by that? You asked him, confused. I hear them sleeping, but it's like... Zenitsu hesitated, growing as he tried to explain himself. Not sleeping. Do you think this is a demon? You pondered. Pretty sure. We gotta hurry if that's the case. Zenitsu hummed. Maybe the others are in the same situation. Zenitsu suddenly clambered to the wooden floor with a thud, eyes dropping close. Zenitsu! You exclaimed, shaking the male softly as an effortless attempt to wake him. No reaction. Hey, wake up! It didn't work on you, a dull and shaky voice said. You turned your head to where the voice emerged from. There was a trained induction standing at the door. He seemed afraid and anxious. Sir, you have to get out of here quickly, you urged, standing on your feet and approaching the man. This place isn't safe. Sleep, an eerie voice spoke from behind you. Before you could react, everything turned black and your body felt heavy. You fell asleep.